Good morning. I am here at 5909 Zaki. I'm going to go ahead and do a virtual tour and upload this to YouTube and send it over. I'll make some comments on things that I see, and all of this will also be outlined in the email on recommendations that need to be done. So here's the home. The ground floor is block. The second story is frame. You can tell by the windows that are flush against the ceiling, against the stucco, excuse me. First thing I would recommend doing out here is pulling all the weeds that have grown over the months or years and putting down fresh mulch. And pulling weeds also includes removing them from the pavers where they have kind of infiltrated around. I'm going to walk around the house first and go from there. The house does need to be pressure washed, and so do the pavers as well. Once all of that is done, you can see there's been some gunk on them over the years. Although painting the exterior would probably freshen it quite a bit, that's a fairly high expense, and I think that pressure washing will do the job. In the same token, replacing, what's there with new sod would be nice, but then again, you can leave that for the next person. I don't find that to be critical. What I do recommend is that somebody does clean up some of the landscaping around, pick up all of these fallen leaves that you see here. You do see some discoloration around the bottom. This is highly typical when it comes to weed whackers, landscape people that do this. It's not uncommon at all. You do have a lot of overgrowth here that needs to be mowed for sure. Torn screen, there's a couple of them. I recommend replacing them. That should be a minimal cost. The idea is that we don't want to make the house look like it hasn't been maintained, because if buyers can see that these obvious things haven't kept up with, then they're going to start to question, well, what else has it been kept up with that we can't see? And that's very important to try and mitigate that speculation. Again, pavers down here, definitely want to take care of all the pulling of the weeds from here. The pool appears to be in very good shape. Everything seems to function. Again, you can see pressure washing that needs to be done all around. This door needs to be repaired, should be. We have a random pipe here. I would definitely recommend painting this trim around the door. Unlike the stucco, this is wood, and because there's really not much of an overhang against it, it gets pounded by rain and weathered, and should be painted something to match. And you have a couple of spots that you can touch up as well. It is plumbed for a gas grill, which is nice. You do have a quote-unquote outdoor sink. It looks like it was jury-rigged together. And the granite has cracked all the way through in several places. My recommendation, because it doesn't look very stable, is to remove the whole thing and just cap the plumbing and let somebody else, put something there that they like. Also, you'll notice that there is probably some runoff from a broken seam in the gutters, and after the pressure washing, we need to see if any of this has been, if there's actually, yeah, there is. I can actually see it now. I'll try and zoom in on it. But you do see a crack here that should be sealed, because moisture just accentuates everything. This is actually probably made of wood, and we need to make sure none of that is rotten. Hopefully it isn't, and it can just be sealed and done. Maybe with a clear silicone, and get some matching paint to paint over it. Again, this is part of the pressure washing. All of this needs to be pressure washed. This is another area that definitely needs to be sealed. and painted. You can see the crack running down all the way from the top to the bottom, and here as well, and around the columns. Continuing our exterior tour, you do have another torn screen here. I would replace that one as well at the same time. Now, a couple of things. I have noticed there are at least 2 pieces of exterior concrete trim that have completely rotted and fallen to the ground. Both of these should be redone. This is the first one. It is quite extensive. Typically this results of cracking that went unchecked, and as water penetration happens, it will go ahead and deteriorate the rebarb in the concrete and cause the whole thing to expand and crack and fall apart, as you see here. This is just as important as this one here that I pointed out earlier. These items should be addressed and repaired. The pool equipment seems fine. It does have a pool heater. It is a gas pool heater. We do have a propane tank on the side. You have some junk here that I would remove. Definitely keep the screen for the child safety fence for the pool. In fact, I would put that in the garage instead of leaving it out here. There's the propane tank. It looks like it has a rain sensor for irrigation. Running on the other side of the house, again, just needs, I would trim this back tremendously. This tree looks like it's all over the place. Also, I don't really see a need for this lattice. It's kind of warping and falling apart. I can see it all being removed, and definitely not necessary. You can see there are some roots that have actually started to grow within it. All 3 air conditioners should be serviced. These 2 look original. This one, I checked the date on the air handler and it looks like it's a 2023 unit. This is the second area of exterior stucco work that needs to be redone. Again, you can see the pieces lying on the ground, and you can see a broken or separating piece of stucco that has come apart here. Those should definitely be addressed. And similar to the door that's leading in the pool, I would just have this sealed and painted. Again, it gets hit by elements and it just needs to be addressed. Moving around towards the front of the house. Again, just needs to clear up the debris, the yard debris, clean it up, mulch, and go from there. The sprinkler system is not working. Or it's not on. So I would definitely get it serviced to make sure everything runs so that the grass can start to green again, like the neighbors next door. And at the same time, pull all of the weeds that have overgrown over it. You can see a clump here. And here we go to the inside. So we're moving in. Here's the foyer. To the left of the foyer is an office. It has 2 entrances. One is a double 8-foot doors, and the other leads to the hallway, which I'm not even sure it's needed. You can actually probably, someone may want to seal that up one day. It does have just a basic closet, but it's a good office. On the other side, we have a formal dining room. The property definitely needs to be painted inside. Not only the trim, not only the walls, but also the trim and the ceiling to some degree as well. Formal living room. This is all really nice marble. This area gets plenty of natural light, and you've got super high ceilings in the foyer and the formal areas, and columns flanking each side. Archways as well, kind of lends to the Spanish style. So we're going to be moving to our left. This is the pool bath. This is the main guest bathroom that guests would take that are visiting. The pool bath has access to the door outside. This is one of the ones that needs to be painted on the exterior trim. It does have a full shower. And then we have the master suite. Not much really I can see that needs to be done here. Maybe just change out an outlet cover. The property does need to be deep cleaned once all the repairs are done. Again, you can see cobwebs on the front, a little bit of separating crown molding. It has a very nice sized walk-in closet. And then you have the master bath. Have a linen closet immediately to your left. Single vanity, dual sink with a makeup counter in between. Nice mirrors. Same marble tile throughout. Shower. The shower floor definitely needs to be re-grouted. I would re-grout it, not caulk it. I would pull out the grout all the way around and grout it again. Garden tub and water closet. All right, and that takes care of that wing of the house. Let's move on to the other wing. Again, you can see that it just needs to be painted. It's been a while. You've got a lot of chips, so. Moving into the kitchen. The kitchen has a reach-in pantry, a very deep one, not quite a walk-in, but sufficient. It does have, the kitchen seems to be in fine shape. The microwave does vent outside. Most of this stuff looks 2003. Granite countertops, undermount sinks, stainless appliances. Any appliances that don't work, I would definitely have replaced. Also, I would recommend replacing any and all burnt out light bulbs, if there are any. This little area here before you get to the family room is a breakfast nook. It does have the sliders that go out to the pool area. These two caps you see here are for speaker wires caps, and if anybody wanted to put some kind of surround, they could do that. Looks like you have a gas fireplace, old built-ins. As this home was built in 2003, this was before the advent of flat screen TVs, so the TV likely went right here. Another buyer, owner would probably rip this down, maybe even the fireplace as well, to give it more of a modern feel. You do have just some minor detaching from the crown from the ceiling, as you can see here. That's just nothing but a little caulk before they paint. No big deal. Then we move into the two guest suites. Has a linen closet in between. Guest suite number 1 has a built-in closet, tile floors. Looks like that there was some kind of leak here. You can see where there was a patching job done. The paint didn't exactly match. The only thing I find very concerning here is this part here. Now, if you look on the outside, this is in between the two air conditioners and one of those sills, concrete sills that has fallen apart. And it looks like water has wicked in here and has rotted the drywall and possibly even the wood. So as that exterior is replaced, The interior does also need to be replaced. You can see the separation of the baseboards by the moisture. And I would get this entire area repaired as well. There's a bathroom in between the two bedrooms. You had mentioned in the text chain about ceiling work that needs to be done. It doesn't look like it has been done, but that should be repaired and then or replaced if it is not repairable, primed and painted. Speaking of these leaks that we've seen, I think it would be a good idea to get a roof inspection done, or excuse me, a 4-point inspection done. That way it'll test the plumbing, the electrical, the AC, and the roof, and it will identify any potential deficiencies and if you need to get a roofer, plumber, electrician, or AC tech out here to do those, any repairs that come up. Bedroom 2, guest bedroom 2 has a built-in closet. Don't see any deficiencies here. Then, moving on, this is the air conditioner that was replaced. I could tell by the serial number that it's a 2023 unit, so that was recently redone. Just want to get it serviced. You know, I'm not sure when the last time the filter was changed, but judging by the grate, it may be a while. Before you get to the garage, you have the laundry room. It does have a utility sink and cabinets. Looks like there was something that happened with water running down. You can see that some of this has come off, and I would definitely replace that one panel because it just shows that there's been moisture that was left unchecked for some time that allowed this to happen, and you do see looks like it's got mildew or old mold stains, and that just raises a lot of questions. So moving ahead, we have the garage, 2-car garage. This is interesting here. I noticed when you first go through, this is like a mildew mold that is eaten away. So I don't know if there's a lot of moisture here. If you look here, directly above the door, you do see water streaks that have been coming down. And if it's an old issue, then it should be, I mean, like I said, everything needs to be repainted. This here on the back wall is also indicative of moisture intrusion from the outside. So this should be repaired and painted and checked to see if there is any moisture intrusion coming from the outside. Also, I have noted that there was definitely a leak here. The drywall has been completely eaten through, and you can see in between the trusses. And of course it needs to be deep cleaned. These are, again, this is indicative of moisture that has caused mildew to grow, and this just needs to be cleaned off when it's deep cleaned after all the trades have left. In this little closet here is the water heater. Water heater is an original 2003. It looks like it's in great shape. You do have a little bit of storage here, some extra tiles and whatnot. Moving upstairs, I would remove all of these old padded things and then have them refinish, not refinished, but just clean to get all the gummy substance underneath it gone. There's no need for them. They just look raggedy. Should be removed. This is, technically it's bedroom 4. It has 4 walls, a closet, but it functions better as a game room. But if somebody wanted to make it a huge bedroom, you certainly could. Again, need to make sure any roof has been redone. And then, do the drywall repair and the ceiling painting. You do have a split here. The split in the ceiling is more indicative of drywall tape because there's no moisture stains or anything that would indicate an issue. You do have moisture stains here. This is very close to the air handler for this unit, for this room, which is one of the smaller ones. And it doesn't look like, judging by the filter in between, it's been changed in a while, but this may have been a prior leak that just needs to be addressed. Nice little bar. Nothing really that you need to do here. I'm sure there was a beverage or wine fridge here. You don't need to replace it. This is interesting. I'm not sure why this was covered up and sealed. Maybe they were getting rodents or, cockroaches or ants somewhere there. You also see it down here. And then you have a walk-in closet. And then you have the third air handler, which is in this closet. I don't see a light switch. There it is. Again, this is an original 03 unit, but it appears to be in fairly good shape. Again, a 4-point inspection would definitely reveal much. The propane tank I would also get serviced. Also would have somebody do a check on the pool equipment, make sure everything is running. Here's the upstairs bathroom. Only thing that needs to be done here is to fix the stopper and to re-caulk the areas where you see black. Just pull them out. And then of course a deep clean of everything. And that about wraps it up. I'll put together an analysis and we'll go from there. Overall, it's a nice house. It just looks like it hasn't had much love in a while as far as maintenance and taking care of some of the issues that I've pointed out. But other than that, it's about it. Hope you found this helpful, and I'll be in touch.